Hello everybody and welcome to the British Pint. My name is Christoph and today we are trying to clone the Adnams Broadside. So I do have the books that have this recipe in them, so that is the Brewery on British Real Ale and the Real Ale Almanac that is a bit older. But both of these recipes, as I found out, give you the recipe for the cask ale version, which has only 4.7% ABV. The bottle, however, is the original because that version came first. They launched the bottle in, I think, well, some decades ago, I'm not sure. But the cask is a more recent invention where they downscaled the percentage and just getting a bit more suited for cask. So I cannot get the cask here. I can sometimes get a bottle of the Adnams Broadside. I recently had one, a few months ago, I had one and the taste was quite nice. So I'm trying to clone this one, see where I go and see if I can get a bottle again. I think the shop dropped it since then, so it might be difficult, but we'll see. The beer has changed a lot since the recipes from these books were made, and on the website they do give a few details about the ingredients, and since that is a path forward that I like to do a lot with the Theakston Old Peculier, I'm going to do it here as well. There are also quite a few informations that you can find sprinkled on different forums where they explain to you, probably from brewery tours, which of the description fits the bottled version and which fits the cask version. So from my understanding, contrary to what is said in the books, nowadays it's only First Gold as a hop, and you have mostly pale ale malt with 2% chocolate malt for the bottled version. And then the cask version is only pale malt and colored with caramel, so that will be quite a different flavor. And it doesn't have any late hopping, it's only bitter hopped, if I understand correctly. So the hopping schedule that is described in the book here says that there is only a post-boil edition. So that is what I'm going to do as well. First Gold is a hop that can give a very harsh bitterness, and I'm a bit scared because we need 33 IBUs with that. So that might be a bit difficult to achieve in a way that the flavor is very nice and balanced. But with the high ABV, there are chances that if you just let it sit enough, everything will mellow down and work. The next very tricky thing about this is the yeast. There does exist a yeast, which I have bought by coincidence, just because I thought, hey, this is on offer. This is the Wyeast 1334 British Ale 2, and that is supposed to be the Adnams yeast, but only if it's true that this is the same as the White Labs Southwold Ale yeast. I think it's the 028, and Southwold is a clear indication to Adnams, because they are in that area in Southwold. And they have an ale called Southwold Ale, so that, or Southwold Best Bitter. But that really hints toward Adnams, and there's not as strong a hint to the Wyeast version of this. But since I have it, I thought I'd use it. Now, you can find on Homebrew Talk forum posts by Ron Pattinson where he states that Adnams uses a twin strain. Again, the same problem as with Theakston. We need two different strains, and the specifications are that one does the attenuation and the other one does the flavor. And the flavor for this beer is described as something that is very intensely fruitcake. So we think of dried fruits, we think of a bit of a rich flavor, a matured flavor. This one is a more highly attenuating yeast, and most guesses that I found on the internet say that this is, if anything, the highly attenuating strain. So we need something that gives the flavor. I'm not going to do a yeast blending again though, because from the moment that I record this video, I do not know yet how the Theakston turned out. So I will delay that for later. And I do not know any yeast that gives a proper fruitcake flavor. Something that you would think of resins, for example. And that is something that normally requires crystal malt, which are not in the recipe. So very tricky. Yeah, not even in the old one. Okay, so I'm going to use this yeast. This yeast, because I got it last year, I think in October, November, and I just couldn't get myself to brew this clone. It is now quite old. This is best before February. We have July now. I smacked this 2 days ago to see if there's any activity, and it did inflate very slightly. So there's some live yeast in here. I'm going to pitch it into a nice hot, well, no longer hot, but a nicely prepared cup of malt extract tea that I made. And then I'll see if by the evening this will have some bubbles, some activity in there, then it will be fine. Now, before I knew how active this yeast was, I thought normally if I have a Wyeast package, I need to do two of my batches, which are usually 4.5 liters, a British gallon. Gallon is a different thing. A British gallon, and because of that, I did I did just yesterday a brew of 100% pale malt, one of my test beers, to see what the yeast tastes like, and then I can quantify whether I want that flavor in the future, just to see if I want it again. So I do have 9 liters of beer, and the problem is that I'm not sure now whether there's enough vital yeast for that. But I will pitch it according to gravity. The test beer is at around 10 degree Plato, and the other one will be around 16 degree Plato. Probably 16.5 is what we want to reach, because we need 6.3% ABV. Okay, that's pretty much it. So the recipe that I went for, because of my efficiency, is 1050 grams of total malt of the grain bill per 4.5 liters of ale. That was 2% chocolate malt, so 20 grams, more or less. And then I went with some acid malt because I want to get the water adjusted. They also use acid malt in this older recipe in here. So this is a very difficult thing to put in a recipe because they don't tell you the water. Don't follow the recipe that gives you a certain amount of acid malt. Go for your water, check what pH you need to reach. And in my case, that means 4% of acid malt. And that's pretty much it. And then I'm going to calculate the amount of first gold I need to put in the boil. I'm going to boil for 90 minutes. Oh yeah, the mashing already started behind me. I already put all the grain in there. That is, as always, 66 degrees for an hour, and then 4 liters of mash liquor, 3 liters of sparge liquor. Then the boil. Sparging should work fine. I put some rice hulls in there as well, just a handful to get, because of the viscosity will be quite high, to get a proper runoff. And then we go to the first gold, and then I will add some post-boil first gold. How much do you use here? 2 grams. Yeah, let's just stick with 2 grams. Just add that there. I did brew a beer with, was it Whirlpool First Gold, or it was late edition First Gold, and it didn't really taste any flavor. It's supposed to taste a bit like orange marmalade, which would suit a fruitcake style, makes everything a bit more fruity. But First Gold seems to be difficult for me to quantify in terms of flavor. It is very strong in bitterness, so I know that one. Seems to be quite a harsh, like Target, slightly harsher bitterness than some other hops, like Challenger and so on. Okay, so we got that nailed down. Then I will see how the yeast works, pitch it accordingly, according to the gravity in these two, and see how the fermentation goes. And probably I will add some clips to the end of this video to see how, to show you how the brewing worked and everything. And I think that would be it. Yeah, I condition this for a bit longer, maybe 6 weeks, and see what it tastes like then. So I'll see you next time for the tasting, and then until then, take care.